So, good morning, guys. Today's video, I wanted to elaborate and give my opinion on the base model and all of the various battery choices specifically, or should I say range choices. So, yesterday's video was an impromptu video. I sat down with my laptop. I knew that Tesla was going to be making a surprise announcement at 2 p.m. Western time here in the U.S. But I wasn't really thinking much about it. I flipped my laptop open and sat down to check email and do some online billing for my business, and checked in, went to Tesla's website and saw that lead-in screen, and I thought, yep. And I looked at the clock. We're a few minutes from them releasing or announcing what they were going to announce. So I thought, well, where's my phone? So I grabbed my phone and to start filming, because I wanted to be there right when the web page changed and they opened it up. So yesterday's video, admittedly, was haphazard and really crappy. I readily admit that. But that was just basically, hey, what does the website show? And I wanted to just get the most brief information I could so I could get it just quickly uploaded. Today I wanted to kind of give my thoughts on this. And what was most shocking was the various range options available. And a few things jumped out at me. The reduced price of the autopilot, although it seems to be at this point a reduced autopilot suite, not the advanced autopilot with navigate on autopilot option that those of us that paid $5,000 have on our cars. But it's still an auto steer feature, which is good. Another thing that jumped out at me, other than all of the battery or all of the range options, was the fact that now they're rating they have the long range rear wheel drive option available again. So this is no longer a unicorn car, but that they've upped it to 325 miles. Now, one of my thoughts on that was that maybe they're just re-rating the car. Maybe it was tested and it's really got 15 more miles of range than they thought, or whatever. But more than likely, they're just unlocking 5% of the hidden, going from 310 miles of rated range to 315 is roughly, it's like 4 point something percent, just shy of 5% more range, which is not unsubstantial. I mean, I end the day at times thinking to myself, it'd be great just to have 10 to 20 more miles of range, because I drive a lot of miles, and in the wintertime, if I'm cranking the heat, or in the summertime I'm cranking the air and I drive longer than usual, it would be nice to have a little bit of margin. But I think range is like money. How much do you want? Well, as much as I can get, or just a little bit more. So anyway, but the thing is, I've been very outspoken about the condition of lithium batteries and how to maintain them. And the best way to maintain lithium batteries for largest number of recharge cycles is to protect the very top of the charge and the very bottom. For sure, the bottom 10% and the top 10%, but if possible, if you could protect the bottom 20% and the top 20% and stay between 20% state of charge and 80% state of charge for the bulk of your daily driving, it will stretch the range of the car. And, if you're going to travel or whatever, charge it all the way up, just charge it all the way down, no problem. It's not bad. It's just daily, it's best to stay in that center 60% if you can. And so Tesla unlocking more range, though it's cool that we can access that now, what that means is they're going to have more people with potentially a slightly reduced number of discharge cycles if they're charging to 100% and discharging way down on a frequent basis, because Tesla is no longer protecting 5% of that protected range. Now, how much of the battery's capacity are they really protecting? Was it previously they were only protecting 10%? And now once they change that, and if they're going to update all of our existing cars to 325 miles of range over the air, does that mean that now we no longer have 10% of the battery's internal capacity protected? It's only 5%? It's a bad thing. Now, did they have 20% of the battery that was being protected, 10% at the top, 10% at the bottom, and now they're going to 15% that's protected? Well, then giving us that extra 5% is probably a really good thing. So it's tough to know how to feel about this, just because of the fact that we really don't know what Tesla's doing behind the scenes in that realm of how much battery is really left in reserve. We know that there is some battery left in reserve because on a number of occasions, at least with the Model S, they have gone into, or they have, when there's a natural disaster or for whatever reason, storms coming and people need to evacuate, Tesla will unlock more range on their Model S's temporarily so that people can charge up higher and get further out of the area. So we know that they've been protecting range, and that goes back to the fact that the early Gen 1 Roadster, people were wearing out batteries because Tesla either wasn't protecting any range or wasn't protecting enough of it, and people were charging the battery way up, discharging it way down, something in the road there. And also we had lower technology, or poorer technology batteries back then. So, but we did see that happening with the Gen 1 Roadster. So I think with the Model S, Tesla realized their error and began protecting some of the range in the battery. Now that brings me to the multiple range options in the Model 3 that is now showing up on Tesla's website. My opinion of that, I believe that the standard range is what they intended it to be, and standard range plus is merely that standard range car with 10% or whatever the percentage ends up being of the range unlocked. And I think that that's a brilliant move on Tesla's part, and let me explain why. Now, for those of you trolls that are just hating on Tesla, this is your chance to shine. I'm going to make a bold statement here, and bear in mind that this is just my opinion. My opinion isn't necessarily worth anything, but this is my personal opinion on this, and that is that most likely that base $35,000 car probably costs Tesla $35,000 to make. Currently, I believe that economies of scale and their production cost continues to drop, and over time it will make money. But I believe either it's costing them $35,000 to make, or maybe even it's costing them a couple thousand more, $36,000 or $37,000 to make. Who knows? But I have a feeling they're really not making money on that car yet. They will, but I think they're not making money on it yet. So I think what they're doing is unlocking some of that car's range to call it standard range plus, so that they can upsell people, because it's only a little bit more money is what they're going to tell people to unlock some more range, and that may push the car to finally being profitable, even if just a little bit, or at least not a loss leader. So that's my opinion, is what they're doing with the base car is doing their best, number one, to market a stripped down version of autopilot for people that want autopilot but really can't swing $5,000 for it, or can't justify it in their lives. So they give them a stripped down version of it for $3,000 instead of $5,000. Number two, they can unlock some of the already existent battery storage within that pack. And I think that between the stripped down version of autopilot, the additional range in that pack, Tesla's going to get, instead of $30,000, it's going to be a little over $40,000. Or excuse me, instead of $35,000 for the car, it'll be a little over $40,000 with the basic autopilot activated and the more range. And I think that that's a plan on Tesla's part in order to make the car profitable sooner. I believe that if they didn't do that, the Model 3 at $35,000 with the features they have listed would be profitable at some point, but Tesla needs to keep their quarters consistently profitable moving forward. So that's my opinion as to why they did that. Now, why did they stretch the range on the long-range rear-wheel drive Model 3? I think there's a couple reasons for that. One is that I think many people have known for some time now that the all-wheel drive cars, even though they're rated at 310 miles of range, as well as the rear-wheel drive long-range car is rated at 310, I think we all kind of realize that the all-wheel drive cars have at least a slightly diminished range. There's more rotational friction, there's more weight to that car, and that it's been reported by a number of different people that, the all-wheel drive car is slightly less range than the rear-wheel drive. So I have a feeling that Tesla is just recognizing that, and rather than play the numbers game, they're probably just, all right, let's unlock some battery and make the rear-wheel drive car with the long-range pack, give it the range that it really should have. Number two, I think it differentiates the mid-range from the long range in a gap that's wide enough that it may encourage more people to purchase up to the long-range battery, and that's probably the bigger reason. But in any event, it was shocking to see 4 ranges: standard plus, mid-range, and long range. So there's 4 separate ranges available. I mean, it's almost ridiculous how many options now. But options can be good unless you're given too many of them, and I think some people end up with analysis paralysis where they stare at the screen. I don't know what I should buy. But I think at least this way they don't have someone going, well, 220 miles of range is not enough for me. I can afford more, but wow, I don't want to buy a long-range car. That's expensive. Well, now they've got a few options. So, Anyway, my opinion of the basic interior, honestly, I think it's great. I'll be straight with you guys. I'm not a leather seat person. I actually prefer fabric seats. Now, it depends on how they look, but our little Civic Si that I drive on the weekends, that car has fabric seats, and it is wonderful. I like the breathability of fabric. Now, these vegan leather seats, so far at 32,000 plus miles, have worn well. There's no signs of wear on them whatsoever. It is actually pretty comfortable material. It's got a slight texture to it. It's not glossy, and so that's good. But it looks nice, I'll say that. But honestly, again, I do prefer a fabric seat because I like the breathability, so I'm great with that. Manual seats, manual steering adjustment, I'm fine with that. The only reason that would ever be a problem is if the same car is shared by many people and they want their driver profile so they can get in, hit the profile, and have everything adapt to them. Then that is that can be beneficial. But otherwise, for my cars, my Civic Si has manual adjusted wheel, manual seat. Rarely does anyone else ever drive my car. I set it for me. Jay Leno made an interesting comment about this. I believe he was talking about his Mercedes SLR, that McLaren Mercedes SLR, that it has power seats and power wheel and memory and all that. And he said that I'd rather have the manual seats and save the weight and the cost, even though it was $500,000 car or whatever. He said he'd rather have manual seats to save the weight because he says, look, for what this car cost, he said, I'm the only person that's ever going to drive this car. I adjust it once, set it, and leave it alone. I don't need adjustable seats. So for me, especially if I was looking to save a few dollars, I would go for manual adjustable seats. And so if I were to order a car today, I would prefer fabric seats that were manual adjustable, but with the long-range battery and true enhanced autopilot. As far as the more basic interior as a whole, the hollow center console, I don't know. I'd need to sit in the car to know if that's a big deal for me or not. I honestly don't really like this faux wood on the dash. It's really not my thing. I'd prefer a black or some other panel there. I've considered wrapping it in black. I know some people are going to hate on me for that, but it's the only wood piece in the car. It really looks out of place, so I really don't like that anyway. So I don't know. I mean, I guess I need to sit down in the base model car to see if the interior is decent. But for me, again, advanced autopilot with eventual full self-driving, long-range battery, those are the things I want. Now, my opinion of the glass roof on the base model car, I think that's purely a production options and cost thing. Is it cheaper for sheet metal than glass? Yes, but it may very well be that they're having so many glass panels made at this point that it may not be costing Tesla all that much anyway. And to change the production line to do more steel stamping for the steel roof panel, you got to remember it would be a new steel panel, it would be a new headliner, there would probably be some insulation up there. You know, they may have run the numbers and found, you know what, let's just keep throwing the glass roofs on there because it's, you know, if nothing else, it makes the car feel a little bit more upscale. I'd say the only downside is that those of us that sprung for the extra interior and you know, that includes the glass roof, it's a little bit of a bummer to know that what I paid for my car is now available in a cheap car. But whatever, sour grapes, call it what you want to call it. I feel lucky enough to have a relatively early car anyway. I've had my car for 9 or whatever months at this point. It's VIN number 9,300 and something, so I've got a relatively young car. And being able to get in on the ground floor early on, I think was fine for me, paying a little bit of a premium if indeed they're going to lower the price of options over time. So anyway, lots of rambling today, as I usually do. Let me know your opinion of this. You know, give me comments in the comments section below and let me know your thoughts. So, anyway, thanks guys. Have a great day. Bye-bye now. Boy, that was weird.